our model speaker, Arlene Cogen, Give to Live. Give to Live. Please welcome Arlene Cogen.
It was May 5th, 2010, a Sunday afternoon. Hey, Mom, how's it going? Bubby, sit down. Are you listening? Yeah, Mom, what's wrong? It was exactly 1 month after my oldest daughter's bat mitzvah. My mother came from Florida. Our friends and family gathered, and my mother read Torah at my daughter's bat mitzvah. It was one of the most amazing moments of my life. And here I was listening to her. Bubby. Bubby was her pet name for me. Bubby, I have pancreatic cancer. It means I have 6 to 8 months to live. My heart sank. It was the worst news I had heard since my father passed away 13 years before. My brother, sister, and I took turns going to Florida to be with her. The first time I arrived, on the way from the airport, Bubby, I want you to go through my documents. You're the financial expert, and I want to make sure that everything is exactly as I want it. Mom, can we get to your house? Can I unpack? No, Bubby, I want to make sure this gets handled. Okay, we walk in the door to her condo, and she rushes me over to the dining room table where there's a stack of all her estate planning documents that she hands to me. Bubby, after charity, does it go equally to the three of you? That's all that matters to me. And as I looked through her documents, they were perfectly fine, But what surprised me, yes, it went to charity, and then it was divided equally between my brother, sister, and I. But what surprised me was only 5% was going to charity. She raised us better than that. I was in my late 40s, and my sister and brother were in their 50s. We were all successful beyond our wildest imagination. And my parents had always raised us to be generous and to give back. Mom, it says exactly what you want it to, but only 5% is going to charity. Well, over the next few months, my brother, sister, and I helped her increase her giving from 5% to 10%. You should have seen the joy on her face as she chose, I'm going to give a little bit more to my synagogue. The rabbi, he brings me to tears, and how he educates the kids, it's remarkable. I want to see that continue. Great, Mom, I'm so happy. Gloria at the Federation, she does such good in the community. She takes 2 nickels and makes a quarter. She rubs them together. She is so thrifty. It was during this time that I realized that, like her, all the people I worked with at the Community Foundation waited till the end of their life to make a difference. And I didn't want that to be me. One of the times I was visiting her, we had these amazing conversations. Bubby, what are you going to do with the money? You mean the inheritance, Mom? The money, honey. My mom was always very direct. It didn't take a beat. Mom, we're going to use the money to go to Israel, give the girls their college education, and we're going to put some money aside in a donor-advised fund to continue the giving legacy. Well, let me tell you, creating that fund was one of the most amazing things we were able to do. And we learned so much from our children about giving. We sat down with our donor relationship officer, and we had a choice. Do you want to invest in the main investment pool or the socially responsible pool? You know, here we were, me, my husband Mitch, our oldest daughter Alana, and our youngest daughter Abby. Now, I sat there, I do this all the time, and I kept my mouth shut and I just wanted to hear what my family was going to do. The socially responsible pool or the main investment pool? Our youngest daughter pipes up, socially responsible. Why would we choose anything else? Mitch and I were so proud that our girls were so positive thinking about making a difference in the world, community, and causes they care about. We so agreed with her. So we went to the socially responsible investment pool. Next, we had the opportunity to make our first grant. And I don't know about you, but our local schools have a suggested donation for their foundations. And our local school, we were ready to write that grant to. And our oldest pipes up and says, Mom, Dad, why would we give to Lincoln High School? It's the wealthiest high school in the district. Why don't we give to a high school in greater need? My husband and I, once again, were so proud of the young women we've raised. And so we gave to both. This has been an incredible journey for us. And yes, we did go to Israel and have an amazing trip. And yes, we're paying for the girls' education right now, and we are pleased to be able to do that. We were able to do amazing things with philanthropy by the example my mother set. And because of all this, I invite you to consider incorporating philanthropy into your life.
Arlene, on behalf of myself and the other evaluators, thank you very much for volunteering to speak. And what a wonderful speech you gave us.
Stop.
What I would
Colin,
like
please stop.
Colin, make sure that you have pinned the timer. I see that your mic is on. Our next contestant, Colin McKechnie. Colin McKechnie.
Arlene, on behalf of myself and the other evaluators, I really want to thank you for volunteering to speak. And what a wonderful speech you gave us. What I would like to do is itemize 3 of the many great aspects that I appreciated of your speech. Your vocal variety, especially when you were talking about your characters, both Mummy and Buddy. They come over so well and so much emphasis on them. Also your gestures. I loved your heart with your mother. And even the little 2-fingery wandering across fitted so well. The third part is your emotional build-up to the trip to Israel. It made the story flow so very well. And then, with your permission, and only with your permission, I would like to suggest for your consideration 2 small, really small suggestions. Give me a thumbs up visually if you agree. Great. Your eye contact was good. You connected well with us. But I did notice one little thing, especially with virtual contests. We have 3 communication clicks: visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. You, like myself and many other speakers, are visual. And when we think or remember, our eyes go up one way. When we're constructing something, our eyes go up the other way. That means the audience loses us. So if you could give a visual sign that you're remembering something, for example, oh, when I think of, or similar like that, or if you're constructing something, you could say, oh, let me think, so that we don't switch off from the audience. Because unlike a stage appearance, this virtual stuff really zooms in on our eyes. Second small part that I'd like to do is your characters. They were wonderful, and you looked down for both of them, but you looked in the same direction. If you could do Mummy, and then when your mother replies, have her look up at you, and the same with Buddy. Very small points in an otherwise great presentation. If I'd had 5 to 7 minutes, I'd talk about all the other things, your animation, your movement, the characters, emotions, structures, but I don't. So what I'd like to do is finish by saying, please give this speech again. Decide which 2 small suggestions you wish to include them, and give this speech again, and then go back to Israel again. Thank you.
A talk with mom, a really moving story, and really a story about the art of giving. Contest chair, fellow Toastmasters, esteemed guests, and Arlene, what a wonderful speech, what a beautiful subject, and very well presented. Thank you. I think we all learned something from you today. You did several things well with this speech. It was really a hallmark storytelling moment, is the way I like to look at it. You told this wonderful story about working with your mom during some rather challenging times, and you engaged us. I really enjoyed hearing the accent. I could tell when your mom was talking. I heard that accent, and you acted out her parts. That was wonderful. I even loved the way that you turned your head when you spoke in her voice, because that way it helped define things for us. Your hand gestures and facial expressions went right along, and I felt they were really balanced. There was also very solid structure to your speech. You told a story that we could follow, how you got there, how you encouraged your mom to give in different ways and really expand her ways of giving and her thoughtfulness about giving. All that helped take us through this wonderful story and inspire us to do the same. Now, there are a few things that I think that you could work on. First off, I noticed there were times where you get closer to the camera and back away, and that's great. But at times it felt like there was just a rocking back and forth more than an establishing a point and making a statement and then maybe drawing back to help de-emphasize as you move forward. But that's okay. Paper handling, I noticed at one point you reached out to move a paper. That's distracting, whether it's in a live situation or here where we actually got the camera covered up a little bit. I would like to challenge you to be more dynamic. You had some great dynamics here, but it was still fairly even storytelling. You can widen your volume dynamics, bring a little bit more energy to things, and use deeper pauses and you're going to get that much more effect from the ideas that you're trying to get across. Overall, I found this to be a wonderfully engaging story, and it had a moral to it, something for us to learn. It was a thoughtful, heartwarming subject. Just watch your body motion, your paper handling, and be a little bit more dynamic, and this will be an outstanding speech that will talk a lot of people into better giving. I love that you illustrated the art of giving, and thank you for this wonderful speech today. I'm done.
Our next contestant, James Wantz. James Wantz.
Good morning, Madam Contest Chair, and especially Arlene and everyone else who is watching this via that little camera right in front of you. Welcome to the new normal. Arlene, you gave an incredibly wonderful speech full of vim and vigor and voices. I loved the voices. Your mother came through so wonderfully well. A beautiful character that you had in your speech, that you were able to present her story to us and give us a message. What I'd like to do here today is offer you a couple options for making this speech absolutely shine and something that you can use everywhere, because I know that you're going to, and you probably already are, which is even the better part. First, I'd like to start with your title, Give to Live. Now, that is evocative, it is nice, it has a rhyming quality. What I would suggest is to make it a little bit more appropriate to the moment and even give people a hint of what they're going to hear about, is possibly adding on to that in front of it, social investing, give to live. Because I noticed that you didn't actually comment about your subject until you were about a minute and a half in. We got the very touching story of your mother and the pancreatic cancer. I'm going to borrow a piece from narrative storytelling that says, always start late, which means you want to start at the meat of your story. And for you in this speech, the meat of your story is the giving. I think you should start your story right at that moment where your mother tells you to review the financial records. I mean, you could start right into the speech with, I wasn't even 5 steps off the plane when my mother's already saying, Bubby, I want you to review the financial records. And then you can back up. I had just learned that my mother had pancreatic cancer. See, in this way, you present the idea of your speech immediately, the give to live, the financial quality, and then you back up to the pancreatic cancer, and then you can move into the body of the speech. Now, the reason why I suggest inserting that phrase, social investing, in your title is at this moment, that seems to be pretty timely because everybody's thinking about social distancing. You're talking about social investing. And I think that's a really nice dichotomy that could be set up, especially right now in this very moment. So that's something you might consider. Another idea that I would suggest for you is to bring your microphone a bit closer so that we can hear you even more clearly. When you were moving the notes on your keyboard, we could hear the movement of the pages. And if that microphone was closer to your voice, we'd really get the gist and the warmth of your voice. I love the way that you presented your material. I think with a few tweaks like that, and maybe a couple technology tweaks like bringing your camera up to eye level, you're going to have an absolutely stellar presentation that you should put on YouTube and use for much future content. Thank you very much, Madam Contest Chair.